Hey everyone, it's the Our Shawn. Welcome to another edition of the McBride Attorney Legal Show here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and check the bell. I'm going to give you some ideas about crowdfunding, exempt offerings, what they are, why they matter, and we're going to dive into that a little bit. Quick disclaimer, this is a show about a legal topic. I am not your lawyer by virtue of doing this show. We're just going to talk about legal principles generally. You need to consult your own counsel. So unless you're working with me, I'm not your lawyer. Consult your own lawyer. These are just general ideas. You need to get your own specialized and personalized advice for your particular situation. With that, let's jump into what we have going on here. Okay, so here's the deal. Very simply, if you're raising money for your company, if you're selling something connected to profit, which is virtually any ownership interest, under U.S. securities law, that's probably going to be a security, which sounds very scary. And it is regulated both at federal and state levels. The good news is a great many of the securities laws exemptions are set up to where if you comply with the U.S. law, the federal level, you don't have to worry so much about the state level. So there's some nuances there which we won't have the time to get into today, but just understand that you generally want to comply with the SEC rules and work through them. Now, companies need to do one of two things anytime they offer securities. Either they need to be registered or they need to be exempt, right? So it's one or the other. Everything goes into one or two buckets. Registration can be very difficult, time-consuming, expensive. Those are what the big companies generally do, right? You go through a full offering with the SEC, you start doing quarterly reporting, very expensive, very time-consuming, makes sense if you're big. But if you're small, you generally want to get an exemption. That means you want to avoid this process. And the exemptions are what we call conditional. You have to follow those conditions. There's a lot of ways you can raise money if you go through a conditional exemption offering. One of them is crowdfunding, and we'll talk about that in today's show. But there's also a menu of other exemptions, and a lot of people have seen media for crowdfunding, and they don't think about the fact that there's other avenues to raise the money as well. So let's walk through that. Crowdfunding, or Regulation CF, is the one that gets a lot of attention. It came out with the Jobs Act back in 2012. It took the SEC a while to get the regulations out there. Hasn't been as popular as people think it is. If you're curious about crowdfunding and want to hear the details, go to the McBride Attorney Legal Show on YouTube, click the button, and you'll see a whole episode that runs you through the basic rules of crowdfunding and Reg CF. It'll get you up to speed. McBride Attorney Legal Show on YouTube. Again, subscribe while you're there. What other exemptions are there? There's Reg A+, which is Regulation A, and they've updated it and set a lot of new rules there. That's become very popular. 2 tiers in Reg A+, offerings under $20 million, offerings up to $50 million to be exempted. You do have some disclosure requirements. You possibly have some ongoing reporting requirements. So there's some expenses and issues there. But what we found in doing the analysis is offerings around the $20 million mark makes sense under Tier 1. Offerings up to $50 million makes sense under Tier 2. People are using them for those size of offerings. What else is out there? The other thing out there is Rule 506, which has been around for a long time. But now Rule 506 comes in 2 flavors. The old flavor did not allow general solicitation. That's still around and still very popular. It allows you to raise potentially an unlimited amount of money, and you can use both accredited investors and non-accredited investors. Accredited investors being those that have a net worth of at least, generally a net worth of around $1 million excluding their home, some nuances in how that's calculated, or income $200,000 or $300,000 a year, depending on whether a spouse is involved. So for higher net worth individuals, you can have an unlimited number of people involved, have up to 35 that are non-accredited. Now, the trick with Rule 506 offerings is you generally don't want to involve non-accredited investors because the information requirements go up so much. The other thing that came with the new 506 is the possibility of having a general solicitation, being able to tell the public about your offer. Now, that comes with more restrictions on vetting your investors, so people aren't as wild about that either. But you can see we've got a couple of different flavors of offering, depending on the size, the information, how you want to do your offering. We'll dive into that some more in some upcoming videos on the McBride Attorney Legal Show. But the key is to understand that there's this whole flavor of exempt offerings out there. You need to find the right one from your toolkit that matches your needs and fits your situation. So think of it this way. If you're raising money, you probably want exemption, and then you want to work with your lawyer or the SEC website or other information sources and figure out which exemption is the right one for you and your circumstances. There is no one size fits all. Crowdfunding certainly got all the media attention, but it's not the only tool. And some people will pick that tool out of the tool chest. Hasn't been as popular as people think it is, but 506 remains a very popular tool, and Reg A Plus is now a powerful tool. So think of the exemptions as being a variety of different tools that are available, and then you need to pick the right one for you. All right, folks, it's the Our Shawn. I'm signing off. Thank you for joining me for the show. Make sure you subscribe to the McBride Attorneys Law Show on YouTube. Ring the bell so you get notifications when we put out more episodes. You can also check out our blog at McBrideAttorneys.com for more information on items like this to help you propel your business forward. All right, folks, looking forward to talking to you all again soon. Hope to catch you